This is Jamie Drummond for Good Food Revolution. We are here with a man who's making regular appearances on our video casts. We are here with winemaker Paul Cluver, who's joining us from Elgin, South Africa. How are you this year?
Very good, it's good to be back.
So we're here for i4C. What have your experiences of i4C been thus far?
Very, very positive.
Good.
It's been wonderful. The consumacy has been fantastic, and even from the buyer point of view.
Your wine was showing incredibly well on that panel yesterday. It was, I think it was the favorite by far.
Yes.
You must have been happy about that.
Very, very happy. You know, we're one of two South African wines being shown here. I don't know how many wines in total, but probably well over 100. And it's wonderful when you can almost break that preconceived idea of what people expect South African wines to be, and then them discovering, well, you know, South Africa can also produce elegant, beautifully balanced wines with fantastic minerality and freshness.
How is the Chardonnay scene in South Africa right now? What is the current zeitgeist when it comes to South African Chardonnay?
I think it's similar to what we're seeing all over the world. So South Africa, one stage as a whole, if I had to take a broad brushstroke, also went to this big buttery, oaky, almost flabby also style of Chardonnays, and we've seen a complete movement towards producing more elegant styles of Chardonnay. I think the biggest risk that we have is that people go too far making reductive style of Chardonnays.
Those are the ones that people often mistake for being kind of very minerally.
Yes. And it's that gun flint. It's often they think it's Burgundian in style, but actually it's a reductiveness that's showing through. And instead, what we should be giving people is are Chardonnays with fantastic fruit, fantastic balance, and not pandering to just please people and wanting to stand out.
Right. And other things, other news from South Africa. How is climate change affecting you down there?
Well, I'm sure you've heard that we've gone through 3 seasons of extreme drought, which has been terrible for the wine industry as a whole, and many areas were running out of water. But what we are seeing is that is in the last 2 seasons being rectified. Ironically, despite the less water, it's been 3 cool seasons. So if you had enough water, you were able to produce enough. You were able to produce a beautiful quality grapes.
Right. Okay. But it was actually cooler.
Cooler, yeah.
Right. So that is true climate change happening there.
Yeah.
And how are South African wine growers adapting to these changes in climate?
Well, I think, if we, as one of the topics that came out was what can we do for climate change? One is just short-term practices. Do we mulch? Do we irrigate? Those are things that we can do right now to try and ensure that even though you have less rainfall or you have warmer conditions, that you try and mitigate that. And then also within the winemaking itself, the other scenario is to try and see if you use different varieties in the same areas. Having said that, South Africa is also fortunate enough to be close to the ocean. Our major wine growing region is within 50 kilometers of the ocean, and that ocean is being influenced by the cold Benguela current that comes up from the South Pole, and because of that, we've seen less extreme weather change. Or when I say weather, temperature changes. What we have seen is weaker cold fronts and less rain, or sometimes stronger cold fronts and more rain. So from a precipitation point of view, it's been more noticeable rather from a temperature point of view.
And what about in your region, in Elgin? Has all of this had much of an impact upon the way that you're having to do things there?
So even Elgin, the temperature has been, as mentioned, the last 3 years actually our growing season's been a little bit cooler, but we've had less rainfall.
Right.
But we're fortunate enough that as a whole, Elgin actually gets enough rainfall over the winter months, which we are able to store and then irrigate during the summer months.
I was speaking with a winemaker from Rioja, a young fellow, just a couple of weeks back, and speaking about the changes in Rioja, and it was actually quite startling. He was explaining that the grower season has gotten much longer, and Tempranillo being a thin-skinned grape, having that longer growing season, the grapes are getting incredibly ripe, but the mildew is kicking in like because it's getting so long, that extended season. They're having terrible times with both late frosts and problems with powdery mildew fungi and the like. And I was quite surprised that would have been one of the things that was going on. But of course, they've been, they're slowly moving further up and up the hillsides for their vineyard sites, right? So quite interesting. And i4C this year, any outstanding things for you? Any epiphanies that you had when speaking with other winemakers?
Not a big aha moment, but I think what's reassuring is to see that all winemakers, I mean, the fact that you asked me about climate change, winemakers are aware of that. They're constantly asking the questions, where can they improve, what can they do to mitigate climate change as well. And what's wonderful to see about that is how we can learn from each other. And once again, that's been reinforced for me as we're meeting winemakers from New Zealand, from America, from France, all year, and being able to exchange ideas is fantastic.
Right. Well, thank you very much for spending time with us at Good Food Revolution once again. Always a pleasure to see you, Paul.
Thank you very much, James.
Excellent. Bye for now.
Thank you. Bye-bye.